your hands, arms, feet and legs inside.
Safari
And
in
remember to
Animal
watch your
Kingdom.
children.
Safari in the Animal Kingdom.
Transport will be arriving shortly. Asante sana. Join your adventure at Green Canyon Safari. Bienvenidos a Kilimanjaro Safari. Para su seguridad del vehículo. Y cuide a sus niños. Gracias. You should be in good health and free from high blood pressure. Back on next.
We are moving, folks. While we're waiting, you guys can also take a look at the animal spotting guide up above you there. We'll give you an idea of some of the species we might be lucky enough to see today. No guarantees we'll see all of them, but we do usually have pretty good animals who live in your neck of the woods as well. Hopefully, I might be able to give you some tools and tricks to help them out in the process. Now, it's an antelope called a bongo. As we come around this bend here, if you look up the hill to our left, oh, and also lots to look at. To our right, just coming out of the forest there, that is an okapi. An endangered species, the okapi is actually the only living relative of the giraffe. Not related to the zebra, despite those stripes on their legs. Oh, and there's their baby, everybody, just coming around from behind that tree stump at the top of the hill to our left. Just a few months old at that size, hanging out with their mom over here, of course. You can see mom's longer giraffe-like. Haven't seen yet is crossing in front of us. This is a greater kudu. She is a female. We can tell because she is missing the corkscrewing spiraled horns that the males of her species typically have. If you look at the animal spotting guide to our right of saddle-billed storks. You can see their nest at the very top of this hill, that large conglomeration of a bunch of twigs and sticks up there. The female is just resting on their nest right there, keeping hopefully some eggs warm, although I'm not really sure. Actually, on our left, there's also a black rhinoceros along the back cliff wall, everybody. He sure does blend in. Definitely been rolling around in the mud today. Helps them to blend in a little bit while also helping to hydrate their skin. Everything from pink-backed pelicans to black vultures down here. Oh, and there is a hippo up the canyon to our right back there, guys. Over your shoulder now. Mostly nocturnal animals. We're lucky to see that hippo out and about. Typically, hippos spend the daytime sleeping underneath the water thanks to a reflex they have that lets them come up for air without waking up. You can see these vultures over here in what is called the heraldic pose, referencing the Egyptian god of sun, Horus. They are drying themselves off after taking some bird baths here in the river. Baobab tree, they are sometimes called the tree of life, because pretty much every single part of a baobab is able to be used by the people who live in this part of Africa to help them survive. Savannah is one of the most fragile and diverse ecosystems on Earth, and it's shaped by the animals that live within it. So the elephants that live down here will knock down trees in order to eat from them. The giraffes will trim the trees. Antelope and zebra will trim the grasses. And everybody does their part by fertilizing everything. As we come around this bend here, if we look in the distance to our right, everybody, underneath the trees out there, I do see a giraffe just standing out in the open. As we move forward here, we should be able to see them quite a bit more close. Up ahead of us in the meantime, there's actually a herd of zebra approaching. These are Hartman's mountain zebra now out to our right. And actually, if you look at that bushel of the tan grass there, there's a smaller zebra walking through it, and that is actually a yearling, a foal. Just about 11 months old, that little one, hanging out with their mom there. Hartman's mountain zebras are uniquely adapted to live in more mountainous environments, thanks to their smaller hooves that enable them to get over more rocky terrain, and bigger hearts and lungs that help them to get enough oxygen up there where the air is a bit thinner. When we see them from a certain angle, you might be able to see there's sort of a flap of skin that hangs down from the bottom of the animal's neck. That's what's called a dewlap. It is a distinguishing feature of the Hartman's mountain zebra. They're the only zebra with that dewlap, and it actually helps them to regulate their body temperature when they're up higher in the mountains. Actually, I think I do see the male of the herd straight in front of us here. He is the father of these two little ones. Another baby actually is right next to us now. Animals in Africa. Every year at the end of the wet season, about 1.5 million of these animals will migrate 1,800 miles to look for greener pastures. On our left, by the way, this massive dirt tower here, this is actually a termite mound. Some of the tallest structures built by any animal in nature, they can sometimes stand for 300 years. Not only are insects important in their ecosystems in Africa, but in our homes as well. Not in our homes, I should say, but in our ecosystems that the homes are in. If termites weren't around, actually, trees that fell over would essentially never be able to decompose. Cameras ready, everybody. In front of us, there is a giraffe walking along. We'll get a pretty good view of them here in a moment on our right hand. They are not horns. Instead, they're extensions of their skull, and they're called ossicones. The only animals in the world who have ossicones are giraffe and their relative, the okapi. During breeding season, the adult males will use those ossicones to fight for dominance with one another. Another giraffe coming up here. Purple color of the animal's tongue actually prevents it from becoming sunburned. Since it spends so much time out of their mouth reaching for leaves, they've adapted to have more melanin present in the sun. As we go around here. Oh yeah. See them flapping their ears back and forth? That's actually how they cool down. There is a very dense sort of a web of veins on the back. Fences have been set up in. So they have been really successful so far. Another elephant over near this baobab tree. You'll see these massive baobab trees to our right and left actually. And they are without...
Oh, their butts. That's great.
You can see that one is slightly younger than the adults she's hanging out with. Not fully grown yet, not a baby anymore either. Bit of a teenager at that age.
Oh, flamingos.
Around the corner here, a whole flock of greater flamingos. They get their name because they are the largest species of flamingo in the world. About nap time for most of them right now, but we've got one who's active, who's eating in the water here. Notice how, well, they were a second ago. They tippy-tap their feet on the bottom of the ice. You can see this adult female's definitely been rolling in that mud wallow we passed by earlier. See all that mud on her skin. Largest species of rhino in the world. Getting up to about 5,000 pounds. Still very light on their feet though. They can run about 30 miles an hour. They'll actually gallop similar to a horse. Well, there you go. Oh, and yes, there is a male lion up here with the female as well. Up here on our left as well, guys.
See the male laying there?
Once the sun starts to go down, that's usually when lions start hunting. About 90% of the hunting is done by these females.
See the females.
The female is a bit closer to us here, just at the base of that tree. Single stride. One's coming up the, coming down the road here. Not sure if they're going to try to cross or not. We'll go nice and slow. View now of these two rhinos to our right. This is actually a mom and her calf that were definitely in the mud not too long ago. See that little one's horn is a bit less developed than their mom's. Organization that is a really useful starting point. Good resource for you. We are going to be getting you guys unloaded just up ahead of us here, folks. If you guys have time today, I definitely recommend checking out the Feathered Friends in Flight show over in Asia. That is my favorite show here in all of Animal Kingdom. Beautiful birds, expertly trained to educate you. Now, we are going to be getting you guys unloaded here, folks. So once again, my name is Ella. I'm from Denver, Colorado, and it's been my absolute pleasure to show you guys around the Harambe Wildlife Reserve today. Here in Harambe, we don't like to say goodbye because that is too sad. So instead we say Kwa Harini, which means to go well.